Good morning, grade 9s, and welcome back to Quarantine English, episode 5. Today, all we'll be doing is marking the activities that you received from Mrs. Heron about 2 weeks ago. We're also not going to be marking everything, only the first 6 pages, I believe, because it is too time consuming to mark everything. Okay, so let's get started. We have page 1, extra activities, grade 9 here. First of all, you received a text where you had to read Churchill's speech, "We shall fight on the beaches." This was used to inspire England during World War II. So, let's get on to activity 1. How did Churchill refer to the United States of America? It was the New World. The New World. Next. What was Churchill attempting to do in his speech? It was to inspire his country. Things were looking grim and he wanted to inspire his country to fight on. 3. What famous conflict does Churchill refer to in his text? This was World War II. There we go. 4. Where was Great Britain prepared to fight? There are quite a few of them. I will only list them audibly. So we've got France, seas and oceans, in the air, on the beaches, on the landing grounds, on the fields and streets, and the hills. Now we get to 5. Do you believe that this is a powerful speech? Explain your answer. You will have to start with a yes or a no and then explain from that point on for your full marks. If you said yes, you can say it is a very historical speech that has survived the test of time, so to speak. If no, you can just explain why not. We get on to activity 2, which is spelling. Correct the words in brackets in the following text. So World War II was very, as you should know, very spelled with only one R. Very. Destructive conflict, that involved. It actually starts with an I here. There we go. Almost the whole. As you can see, I have to use a W if I'm talking about the entire world, the whole world. H-O-L-E is the word for a hole in the ground, for instance. If the USA did not join the fight, the entire, spelled with an E, entire world could have had a tough time. It's T-O-U-G-H. A tough conflict on their hands. We get on to activity 3, viewing a visual. So the text reads, is tank top season already, General? So this is a play on words, which we call a pun. Technically, something like tank top season, you would think about the clothing, a tank top, and not the entire top of a tank, which is the turret area of the tank. So in this case, tank top refers to 2 different things, making it funny. It's a pun. Let's get on to 1. Explain the irony in the soldier's comment. Here again, the word expected is something I would like you to use very often when we talk about irony. Expected. So, what is expected is that the general would have a tank top on, if the question was asked. But in this case, what actually happened is that an actual tank's top, the turret area of the tank, is on the general's shoulders. So you expected one thing, but something else happened. If this is in your explanation of question 1, your answer will be correct. 2. Is the soldier saying or thinking his comment? And as you can see there, it is a speech bubble. Okay, speech bubbles have this straight lined with one arrow with all the words inside a little bubble, and thought bubbles, which are slightly different, have these circular things going towards a big circle which shows you what someone is thinking. That's the difference. So this is a speech bubble. What is the mood of the soldier on the left? Explain your answer. As you can see, I already highlighted it here. He is smiling, as you can see over there. Smiling. Yeah, there we go. Let me put in some teeth for you. So this shows you that he is happy. So what is his mood? Happy. How do I know this? Explain your answer. He is smiling. It's a 2-part question or answer that you'll have to give. 4. Do you think this cartoon is funny? Why or why not? If you said yes, they make use of the pun. Yes, I find it funny. You have to explain why you find it funny. Don't just say it is funny. If not, you'll have to explain why not. Okay, we're now going to get started with idioms and proverbs. So idioms are just figurative expressions that do not add more information. They do not give you advice. Where proverbs are figures of speech that do give advice. They are expressions that will give you a little bit of extra information, something to live by. So question 1, let's see which one is an idiom and which one is, which of these are idioms and which are proverbs. The early bird catches the worm. This is a proverb because it gives advice. In this case, it tells you to do things earlier, then you will get more done. 2, actions speak louder than words. This is also a proverb, advice here, telling you that people judge you on your actions, not what you say. A penny for your thoughts is what we call an idiom. So it's not advice, but it is definitely, you can't give a penny and get someone's thoughts. You can't take this in a literal sense. So it's a figurative expression that just basically asks you, oh, what are you thinking about? Add insult to injury. Again, we've got an idiom. It's to make things even worse than they already are. And then cost an arm and a leg, also an idiom, something that is very expensive. Now, activity 5, which is sentence structure. Basically here you have to find the subject, the verb and the object in the different sentences. Now, as we know, subjects are, verbs, are very easy to find. So let's take the first sentence. The strong soldier has cleaned his old weapon. The verb here is going to be has cleaned. That will be the verb. The auxiliary verb will be included into the verb. Who is doing this action? It is the strong soldier, which becomes my subject. There we go. And he is interacting with his old weapon, which makes that the object. 2. John did not like the conflict in the camp. Did not like conflict in the camp. So did not like here will be the verb. John is doing this verb, makes him the subject, and conflict in the camp is the object. 3. The military was marching slowly. So was marching is an action, and how are they marching? Slowly. So that just adds to my verb. So this is all verb. The military are the people who are marching, so they are the subject. And then we'll see there is no object. So no object is included here. We get on to activity 6, which is abbreviations. You have to write the abbreviated form of these words. Abbreviations itself is ABBR with a dot at the end. You do not add dots to abbreviations where the abbreviation itself ends on the same letter as the word being abbreviated. Okay, that's for initialisms. For acronyms, you do not add dots here. So we've got South African Revenue Service, which is SARS. Your parents love these people. Then SAPD is South African Police Department. So we've got SAPD. And United States of America is known as the USA. There we go. Activity 7, which is a punctuation exercise. So let's get through this one as well. We start off with the beginning of a sentence, which means A needs to be capitalized here, after. John is a proper noun, which means capital J. I have to add a punctuation mark here, which is the apostrophe, because the car belongs to John. Because of that, I know belonging or possession, I have to use an apostrophe. Broke down, he had to deliver the message to Boksburg, Sandton and Johnson by foot. Here you will see that I need, because it broke down, or after John's car broke down, now we get the next part of the sentence. We can add a comma here. He had to deliver the message to Boksburg, which is a proper noun. We then add a comma because it's a list. Sandton, capital letter, and Germiston, capital letter again, by foot, and you'll see I already added the full stop at the end. Now activity 8, conjunctions. Link the following sentences with the words in brackets. So the first exercise, the tank could not get over the rubble. The tank was very robust, however. So here I would start with the second sentence, this one over here. Now after that I will add a comma and then use the word in brackets. So it would be, the tank was very robust, however, and then instead of saying the tank again, I can just use the pronoun that I can use to replace it, which is it could not, and then the rest of sentence 1. And then add a full stop at the end. So, the tank was very robust, however, it could not get over the rubble. Question 2, he was not good at aiming, he had poor eyesight. Here it's a very simple one. You can just start with sentence 1, add a comma, the word in brackets, which is because, and then sentence 2. So he was not good at aiming because he had poor eyesight. Let's go to activity 9, reported speech. You have to rewrite these in the reported speech. So first of all, remember to always look at your reporting verb. As you can see, John exclaimed. So this means I have 3 rules to follow. Let's quickly write these down. So we've got John exclaimed that he, my pronoun changes, was, that's my tense changing, so was not going, that he was not going to war that day, my time word, or the next day. And there we go. Now we get to the next one, which is Mary says. I only have to follow the rule of the pronouns here because says is in the present tense, my reporting verb. So Mary says that. Now she needs to change, and hope, I can't just write hope like that. I have to add the S because the singular form of hope is hopes. She hopes. John received, and I stay in the same tense, her letter, because of pronouns. The yesterday stays the same because we are not changing the tense. There are the answers. Now, activity 10 asks you to write a report. We cannot mark this. It's something to remember. Let's say 3 key things. Remember your heading for any reports that you have to write. Also, when you write, it's you capturing things that happened and trying to explain what happened. For this reason, you have to be chronological about it. So it needs to happen in order of time. So the first things that happened will be the first things you write. The last things that happened will be the last things that you write about. Okay, let's get on to activity 11, which is a comprehension test about this text, the Valley of the Kings. This is where many pharaohs were buried during the Old Kingdom, the Middle Kingdom, and the New one. Okay, so let's get started. In what country do you find the Valley of the Kings? It was Egypt. You can still find it there though. So explain what a tomb is. It is basically, I'll just write down here, a grave site, or a grave rather. A tomb is a grave. 3, what did pharaohs want to take to the afterlife with them? It's quite a selection of things, so I'll quickly list them to you. You've got furniture, clothes, jewelry, food, and personal belongings. 4, why do you think these chambers and tombs were so well hidden and protected? Well, because of question 3, we know that people liked to rob these places because there were many expensive things. So grave robbers they are the reason to have well protected tombs. And 5, explain what a false entrance is. It obscures the true entrance. So just write down obscure. It's a nice word. So obscures the true entrance. The true entrance. Just, yeah, there's a gap between those two. I'm sure you know. Okay, activity 12, spelling. So the following words are scrambled. Use letters in these words to discover the hidden word. So the letters are not in the correct order. You have to make them in the correct order. Question 1 is builders. Then question 2 is false. Remember the E at the end of that word, please. Next one is officials. And the last one, sealed. Activity 13, the tenses. To change the following tenses or sentences into the simple past tense, just make sure to have a look here. It must be in the past and it needs to be simple. So if I say he is jumping, I know that my verb is going to change here to just jumped. I can't write it in the continuous tense because then it would be continuous past tense. So jumped is the word I'll be doing or using here. He jumped up and down in the sand. Then will visit, again, I'll highlight the helping verb and also the verb. He will visit will just change to visited the pyramids in Egypt. Then Egypt is famous for its pharaohs. The is will change to was and it will become a simple past tense. Activity 14, again you had to write a report. Just again those three things. Make sure you have a heading, make sure you write in chronological order, and make sure you capture events that happened throughout. In this case, a holiday in Egypt. Activity 15, which is punctuation. You have to punctuate the following sentence. So let's get started. We've got the beginning of a sentence, always with the capital letter. Valley of the Kings is, in this case, a proper noun. It's referring to a place. So valley is spelled with a capital letter and kings spelled with a capital letter. It's a remarkable place closely associated with royalty. That is a full sentence because we've got a subject, which is the Valley of the Kings. We've got the helping verb here, which is stating a state of being, is, and a remarkable place is my object. If you have sentences that have a full subject, verb, object compilation, so to speak, then you can go on to the next sentence. So nearly is the beginning of my next sentence, which makes it a capital N. Nearly all pharaohs of Egypt, which is a proper noun. So we start with a capital E, were buried there, full stop, and that's the end. 16, reported speech again. So here, I'm not going to write all of these out, I'll just quickly list to you what to do here. So Peter said, that makes it past tense. I have 3 rules to follow. So the first one is the pronouns that will change. So Peter said that he, and then wish, which is present tense, will change to wished. Okay, so Peter said that he wished he. And to continue with this one, we'll get on to wished that, sorry, Peter said that he wished he could have seen the pyramids. Could have seen the pyramids at least once in his life. Okay, so remember the pronouns changed throughout and your tense had to change there as well. 2, Susan asked. So again, I've got this word over here, my reporting verb. It is in the past tense. Now there are some rules here because it's a question that you are reporting. I'll quickly explain to you. So the answer, first of all, Susan asked why they wanted to go to Egypt the following day. This changes because instead of that, I am adding the question word, which in this case was why. So Susan asked why they wanted to go to Egypt the following day. 3, Larry said, I will touch the sands of Egypt before tomorrow. Again, we've got past tense here. So said that he would touch. So the I changes, will changes, would touch the sands of Egypt, and your time word, which will become the following day. We get to activity 17, literal and figurative. You have to use the word rock in these 2 different ways. A literal rock, like saying you threw a rock at your friend, that would be literal. You are actually doing what you are saying. Where figuratively, you are saying one thing with meaning another. So you are the rock in my life would mean that person is a person to depend on. They are always there. They are the stable thing in your life. These are the two different ways you could use the word rock, literal and figurative. Now we get on to 18, alliteration and assonance. So as you know, alliteration, that is when you repeat the beginning of words or the consonant sounds if they are in quick succession. Just make sure your answer has this, and then with assonance it is slightly different, also repetition, but in this case it is the vowel sounds usually found in the middle order of the word that is repeated. Let's get on to activity 19, the euphemisms. Okay, you should know by now it is a less offensive way of speaking about something that is considered, let's say, a little bit more coarse, something a little bit difficult to talk about. So here, you are getting a little thin on top. It means you are becoming bold. Yes, I know what that feels like. 2, his grandmother has passed away. That means that she died. It's very horrible to just directly say that someone died. It's better to say passed away. I am going to have to let you go. This is someone who was fired from a job, which is a very unpleasant experience as well. Now, activity 20 is just asking you to develop an advertisement. Remember, here I'll just quickly list to you. You've got ADA. You should know what they mean. The A is for action, the I for interest, D for desire, and the last A is for action. Now, whenever you want to make an advertisement, you can think of the first 3 as being very important to help you in creating an advertisement. First of all, you have to attract the attention of someone, so bright colors, for instance. Then interest, you have to make sure that your thing that you are promoting is interesting. You have to make it interesting. So in this case, it's a sweet that looks like a pyramid. Maybe you can use some idea linking it to Egypt, making it look, oh wow, it's very international almost. D for desire, you can say it's the sweetest thing you'll ever taste. You can talk about the taste there to make it desirable. And the last A, as you know, is just for action, so that people buy it in the end. Okay, thank you everyone for tuning in to English Quarantine. And that is it for the lesson today. Next lesson, we will mark the rest of these activities, and then we can continue with the more general lessons done daily. Thank you very much for your attention, and stay safe.